thank you for being here. I would also like to thank the Konrad Adenauer Foundation for its invitation. It's a great honor for all of us to participate in this event.
The Konrad Adenauer Stiftung is very happy to support this panel today. My name is Susanna Vogt. I'm head of the office of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung here in Athens. And actually, it's the third year in a row that we are very happy and also proud to be part of the Panorama of Entrepreneurship and Career Development. I think the important event on entrepreneurship taking place here in Athens, as every year I think the growing number of participants can prove. And I would really warmly like to congratulate also Professor Ioannis Lathopoulos and his team for taking up this huge endeavor of organizing this event every year, which is, of course, a huge logistic challenge first and foremost, and I'm really admiring how the team is setting all this up in a very professional way every year. Allow me to say a few words about the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, as we are an organization which maybe some of you, maybe most of you are not familiar with. We are an international political organization coming from Germany, and we are very happy to be back with an office and an own structure here in Athens since about 3 years. The target of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung here in Athens, like in the other 80 offices we have worldwide, is to trigger dialogue. This sounds maybe a little bit blunt, but we feel that especially in these days, our dedication to a Greek-German, but also a Greek-European dialogue is very important. So what we try to do, and Panorama is part of this, let's say, challenge, and also the duty we feel committed to, is to bring people together. These are, as in this case here, entrepreneurs. These can be students, journalists, people working in the political sphere, just to give them the chance to have a direct exchange of ideas. This, again, sounds maybe blunt, but if we look at what maybe also characterizes the Greek-German relationship in the last years, it's just the lack of having the chance of talking with each other compared to maybe talking a lot about each other. So again, this is also the idea why we are here and why we think we can contribute a little bit to Panorama of Entrepreneurship in giving the chance of European, international, German guests to come to Athens and share their experiences with you. These experiences shall not always be good ones, they can also be bad ones. Obviously, we are not here to tell everybody what wonderful experiences always are done in Germany and to what extent we know things better. This is definitely not the case. And especially with this panel, I also would like to underline that it's, of course, not about triggering a discussion about brain drain, bringing all of you to the German market, starting your business in Germany, etc. I think, especially when you talk about starting up and being an entrepreneur, this is neither a German thing nor a Greek thing. It has to be a European thing. It has even to be maybe an international thing to target and to have in your mind when you're starting your own business. So it is in this respect that I'm very happy that I can welcome a very international and, let's say, a very Greek-German panel also, which I think is a very nice picture how close especially these two countries stand. We will have contributions from very experienced entrepreneurs and people working also in the association and university environment in Germany to share their experiences on how you start up in Germany and how you target the market in Germany in particular. We are very happy that Dr. Virginia Green joined us from Hamburg. Dr. Virginia Green, as you might not recognize from the name, is of Greek origin and has a long-standing entrepreneurial career in Germany. And actually what we Germans are very proud of, she has been nominated a Manager of the Year in Germany in last year, which is an outstanding reward. And I think it's very nice that a Greek entrepreneur won this prize last year. Erik Heinelt, he's himself a serial entrepreneur coming from Berlin to us. Erik is not only an entrepreneur himself, but also has a long experience in a very important association of startups in Germany, the Bundesverband Deutsche Startups. It's an association trying to bring together the interests of startups in Germany and to shape these interests in a way that they can make their voice also politically heard. And last but not least, Christiane Frey joined us from Koblenz-Landau University. Christiane is the director of the Entrepreneurial Design Thinking School at Koblenz-Landau University. The university has been awarded a specific prize, for a very important prize also, because of its way of teaching entrepreneurship at this school. So again, Christiane will be here to share these insights with you. The panel will be moderated and hosted by Pέτρος Pantazis. Again, now you recognize it with his name of Greek origin. He himself is working at Koblenz-Landau University, and we are very happy that you will be moderating the session. Pέτros, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Vogt. Hello, everybody, and I would like to welcome you to our panel today with the topic, How to Target the German Market. I'm really glad to be here, and it's a great honor for all of us to welcome you here. And it's really a nice chance for us to see the entrepreneurial issue from three different points of views, from the educational side of the university, from the real-life entrepreneurial point of view, and also from the association point of view. We would like to start with the first presentation for Mrs. Frey. She is the director of the Entrepreneurial Design Thinking School at our university. A few words about our university. Our focus is set on entrepreneurial education, and I give it to Christiane.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So my colleague Pέτρος Pantazis and me, we are very happy to be here today. And what we want to show you today is the issue of entrepreneurship from the perspective of a German university. And I don't know how that works now with the presentation. Oh, okay. So we are here today in behalf of Professor Kurzfleisch. He is tied up with business today, so we are here on this panel, and let's see how that works at a German university. So this is the agenda. I want to give you a little overview of the institutions we have concerning the topic, and also which services we provide and which actual and future collaborations we have. So let me first of all introduce to you our team. Our team consists of 13 persons, and every person is in charge of one certain or specific working package, and Professor von Kurzfleisch is the managing director, and he also holds the chair for entrepreneurship and information management and innovation management and organizational design. To give you a little impression of the region we are coming from, we prepared this little map. And so our university consists of two campuses. The one is located in Koblenz, the other one in Landau, and the two cities lie in one of the 16 federal states of Germany. This is called Rhineland-Palatinate, and for example, the region around Koblenz is also known for its unique river valley, and it was added in 2002 to the UNESCO World Heritage List for that. So there is a total distance between the campus of 150 kilometers, and the study programs we provide range from educational science to more technical ones, mathematics, computer science, and also natural science and environmental science. We are an entrepreneurial university, so what does that mean? What you can see on this photograph is Professor Kurzfleisch and also a colleague of us, Cornelia van der Beek. We got awarded in 2013 as Entrepreneurial University by the Federal Ministry for our program Accelerating Entrepreneurship, in which we seek to spread entrepreneurial spirit in the all academic life. And we get supported by the federal ministry by the EXIST program. This is a supporting program which wants to foster increasing technology and knowledge-based business startups, and also to develop a lasting culture of entrepreneurship at universities and research institutions. All the activities and services we are providing are managed by the Central Institute for Scientific Entrepreneurship and International Transfer, which is connected to the professorship of Professor Kortzfleisch in entrepreneurship, and it is also connected to the Institute for Management. And let's have a look at the institutions we have there. So, for example, we have the Entrepreneurial Office. This is an office where the students and graduates and scientists can go to get first information about all the topic of entrepreneurship. And they get support in coaching or consulting or cheap office spaces if it is necessary. And we have the Innovation Laboratory. This is a point where students can come together for meetups and redefine their ideas. And this is a really informal way to meet to get to really good business ideas. And also we have educational opportunities. And this looks like this, for example. So these are some impressions of the school I'm directing, the School of Entrepreneurial Design Thinking. This is our studio for innovations. As you can see, this is a very flexible and creative space. We provide workshops and lectures there in the method of entrepreneurial design thinking. This is an innovation method which helps to develop new product ideas and new service ideas. And this is our open online entrepreneurship course. If you want, you can take part in it because it's an international course. Every student who is interested in it, or even if you are not student, you can register to this course, which is based on open learning content. And the team collected already existing videos in the internet about entrepreneurship to teach a modern understanding about what entrepreneurship is. So topics are, for example, the entrepreneurial personality or entrepreneurial methods, or it is about creativity or business. But Pέτros can tell more about it maybe later. And also we try to foster a lot of events and networks to get together people around the region of enterprises together with science to exchange experiences, to exchange ideas. We have an open idea campus to get the scientific community into idea generation. And what we are looking for is for collaborations, international collaborations. So we are part of the Erasmus program or the Tempos program. And if you would like to collaborate, we can talk about any kind of collaboration. Our outcome is that we try to sensitize our students for the issue of entrepreneurship to create an entrepreneurial mindset. Because we think entrepreneurship is not only about facts or theory, but it is about creating a certain mindset. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Christiane, for your presentation. I would like to ask you to explain a bit more about the entrepreneurial design thinking method to our audience.
Okay. So design thinking, as I said, is an innovation method to come up with new product ideas and service ideas, and the special thing about it is that it is human-centered, and it's the idea to use the mode of operation of designers and transfer it to other disciplines. This is one basic element, and another basic element is that you work in multidisciplinary teams. So a psychologist and an engineer, someone from literature and business comes together in one team, and they try to solve complex problems. Yeah, that's two of the main basics.
How do you think that this method could benefit startups on their way of founding a business?
I think the method is really important because you learn to collaborate. You learn to collaborate with other disciplines, which often is not so much targeted when you are studying at your faculty, because often you stay in your discipline and don't think out of the box. And I think this is one attitude you need when you start up a business, because you have to collaborate with a programmer, for example, to do a website, or you have to collaborate with a lot of people. This is one thing. And also to be very flexible, because design thinking is a lot about creating ideas in a very fast way, to do prototypes. You really build the prototype in a very cheap and rough way, to set up your first ideas and to present them and to test them. And it is a lot about going a step back and working in an iterative way. And that's what you need when you start up a business, to be very flexible.
Would you like to present us with any real-time examples of startups that have benefited from the method in comparison with startups that started their foundation without this method?
Yeah, the business I started.
Would you like to explain us a bit more about your innovation agency called Dark Horse?
Yeah, so we are an innovation agency based in Berlin. We are 30 people and 18 co-founders out of 25 disciplines, and we work on different innovation projects. We do consultancy. We work together with enterprises to come to new ideas. And one of the methods we use when we work together with clients is design thinking. And we have quite a special kind of organizational structure, because we function a bit like a monastery.
A lot of people are always asking what is the benefit of entrepreneurial education. Would you like to explain them what we do in the Entrepreneurial Design Thinking School and the example of teaching teachers?
Okay. What we do at the School of Entrepreneurial Design Thinking, so there's different workshops or lectures about entrepreneurial design thinking. The students get to know the method, which is about 6 distinct steps, which can be compared to the working mode of designers. It is a lot about doing sketches, a lot of about creating ideas, doing prototypes. And the benefit, in my opinion, is, as I said already, to get together an analytical way of thinking with a creative way of thinking, to work in interdisciplinary teams, and also to create products which are, and this is the main point in design thinking, to create products which are human-centered. Because you try to invent products which are focused on really on the needs, on the wishes of the people. And there should be 3 basic elements in a balance. This is the technique, the business part, and the human-centered part. And at our school, we believe, or we try to teach especially students out of the educational science and school teachers, because we think entrepreneurial education should already start at schools.
Thanks, Christiane, for giving us a clear insight on why entrepreneurial education is so important, in a way that the education model is being structured in a way that we are trained to be good workers, but this type of education gives us really the opportunity to be autonomous and think in a way on how we can be independent and freelancers. I would like to thank Christiane for her time and for her clear insight that she gave us. As Christiane said before, if you are interested or you have any answers about our online course, you can ask us at the end of the discussion. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Erik Heinelt, who is a serial entrepreneur himself. He specialized in internet entrepreneurship. He's a founding partner at the Digital Growth Holding, and he's also a co-founder and board member of the German Startup Association. And you may start. Thank you.
So first of all, I'm very excited to be here. And first of all, I owe you a very big thank you. Because when I was walking here, I called a friend of mine, and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at Athens, and I'm on this panel." And he said, "Come on, it's a Saturday evening, yeah, and you will be talking to yourself." Yeah? But that's not the case, so I'm going to take a picture, and I get a box of beer for it. Yeah, so thank you very much. So now probably a bit more to the serious content. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk with you a little bit. Firstly, probably about entrepreneurship itself and as a career. Then about what's going on in Berlin. Yeah, and why I think it's a great place to be and a great place to go. So first of all, yeah, when looking at the skyline of Berlin and thinking about startups, I want to say that you are warmly welcomed. So just a few words about myself. Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. I've founded 4 businesses so far. All of them are still running, employ over 1,000 people. Yeah, and I just sold my last company a year ago, and now working on the next one. So this is really what I like, this is what I love, this is what keeps me jumping out of the bed each morning, at least mostly. Yeah. And then I also did something else together with some other guys, and we founded a German startup association. It's the most boring name you can think of. And we became lobbyists. I think you're an entrepreneur, why should you become a lobbyist? Why should you have to do anything with politics? And I tell you a little story about it. It was that 3 years ago, on Friday and Saturday evenings, a bunch of entrepreneurs, we were sitting in a good Berlin beer garden, yeah? And we're drinking some beer, and we're, of course, discussing what's going on, in politics. And, how, rules and laws of politicians actually caused a lot of problem for our startups. And, we were, getting, enraged over it. And, but mostly, the next morning you wake up and you've forgotten everything you said. And we said, no, we have to come up with something, and we really have to solve this problem. And then we took our phones, we called quite a few politicians and asked them, on each Sunday, we hear you speaking in the news and the television, and you tell things like, technology is so important. In Germany, we don't have any oil. Yeah, we don't have raw materials. The only thing we have is what our citizens have between their ears. And we said, this is what you say on a Sunday, and from Monday to Friday you do very little, yeah, to work on this. So why is this the case? And And the answer really surprised me. It was because what he said is, what I expected was, this and that law, we did it because of ABC, and that's the reason, and this is why you guys are just unlucky ones. But what it was is that they didn't have a clue. Yeah? When we told them how this affects startups, they were really, really shocked, and they told us, "Oh, we didn't know that. Next time, how can we know about it? How can we establish a dialogue?" And this really, in a way, surprised me. But on the other hand side, of course, it was, gave us a lot of motivation and energy, because we knew that it's, not that somebody's trying to, actively, do sabotage on us, but it's a lack of information, it's a lack of communication. And we say, okay, let's get together a team and let's work on it. And I can, just recommend you to do that, because I think since we've started out 3 years ago, we've been in a dialogue with most of the parties, with most of the politicians, including Ms. Merkel. And I remember when we met her the first time, it was sort of like we explained a lot of vocabulary, what it means, what it is, and also to a lot of, but then you see how, it gets adopted and how people start to care, and also to, work on building a better future there together. And the third point here is I'm a Berlin evangelist. Yeah? That's what I'm since a couple of years. Yeah, because when I was younger, as soon as I turned 18, I left Germany. Because I thought it's not a place where I can flourish. I thought it's too boring, it's too narrow-minded, and there are better places in the world. Yeah? So I lived abroad for a while, and then actually Berlin convinced me of the opposite, to come back, because I think it's a great city. And it combines sort of like very international city. It's a very international city, very creative, but with a good, solid infrastructure. Yeah. So, and hopefully over the next minutes, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So, when you, I think, read the press these days, there's often, probably London and Berlin, mentioned as startup cities for Europe. And I think it's definitely the case. I live in both cities. I think Berlin is a little bit better. Yeah? And so I think what makes the city really great is, firstly, that it's just a great place to live. It's a very international city. So where I live, it's very tough for me to go to the restaurant and order food in German, because people don't understand me there. I also have a lot of friends that who live there for a couple of years, and they speak 2 or 3 words German, but they don't have to learn more of it. It's very open-minded, so it's like when you see people on the streets, it's like it's very diverse, and I think it's pretty cheap. For a European city, for European capital, it's relatively cheap. So in Berlin, it's no problem. Also at the companies, like we have interns that, live, our office is always in the middle of the city, and, they live 5 minutes away by bicycle, and it's just very easy to afford the rent. And when you go, for example, go to San Francisco, there you pay $5,000 a month to have a sort of like decent apartment. The other thing is that also over the last years, they developed a great ecosystem for startup companies in terms of like people. So you have a lot of people that have been entrepreneurs, so the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time entrepreneurs that have done that before, and also have sort of like skills of, and engineering, marketing, of how to build companies and how to do fundraising. And the more often they do it, the better you get at it, and the more professional the companies become that you build. The second is capital. So I think right now, and when you look and when you have come up with good ideas, it's by now relatively easy, I would say, to raise capital, seed capital, sort of like a couple of €100,000 to get things started and get a business off the ground. And it's also getting more and more easier to do follow-up financing, to get a couple of millions, 10 millions and more, to actually grow and develop the company. And third point there is that you also have, you have lots of culture in Berlin. You have lots of, creative people, designers, artists, and so on, which also helps, to develop, diverse ideas. Yeah, and I think what's very motivating is that all of this, what mentioned, that actually happened over the last 10 years. So it's not that this is like, a development over the last century. Because, when the Berlin, historically in Germany, used to be the political capital, but also the leading economic city. But then we had this wall thing, and Western Berlin was just an island, so all the big companies moved away. So when Germany reunited in 25 years ago, there was very little industry in Berlin. Most people were employed by the state, and you didn't have a lot of large companies there. And so there was a big chance. It was a big chance because when you have something like this, you have to come up with something new, right? You cannot do it like you have done it the last 50 years or so. You have to come up with something new. And I think the startup scene, fitted quite well in there. This is just some statistics. I don't want to bother you with it. But what you can see here is that roughly 40% of startups that are founded within Germany are based in Berlin. When you look at where Berlin is pretty good at the moment, do you guys know Rocket Internet? No? Oh, okay. It's probably the largest German internet company, and it's company that mainly focused on e-commerce business models, so selling shoes, apparel, electronics, this kind of stuff online. They started out 9 years ago, as you know, in a thinny basement, somewhere. And by now they just IPO'd 2 companies, one for 6 and the other for 8 billion euros. And they've, within a relatively short amount of time, went extremely international. So they're doing business from Cambodia to Myanmar to Nigeria, South Africa, Brazil, Japan. I think the only countries where they're not active is probably North Korea and Somalia. So they're really international. And drive that with a lot of passion. And around this, they have developed also the teams and the infrastructures that help to build international companies from day one. And this is also because my time is up now. This is also maybe the closing remark. So when you start a company today, at least for the internet sector, you're going to do it internationally anyways, right? So I think there is no point in just focusing on Greece or just focusing on Germany or just focusing on 1 or 2 countries. Yeah? You should build products, applications, and services that have actually a global audience. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Erik. Could you please give us an overview of how easy it is for young startups to try to give it a try in Berlin? How is the general situation, the ground? Is it prosper? What should they pay attention to?
Yeah, sure. So I think firstly, it's a very good breeding ground for startups. I think that comes down to a couple of factors. The first is that it's socially extremely accepted to do a startup. Yeah. So when you're out in a cafe, a restaurant in Berlin, somebody asks you, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you say, "I'm working on a startup that does ABC." So you say, "Cool." Yeah? When I do that in my home city where I come from, people say, "What's a startup? Can I eat this? Is it a newspaper?" And so I think this is, it sounds so logical, but I think it's very important because, let's be honest, when you found a startup, you very often stand in the morning under the shower and you feel like, the world is falling apart. Yeah, and if somebody gives you a clap on the shoulder and says, "Come on, let's go," that definitely helps. Yeah? I think secondly, you find pretty good team members around you. So whatever you do, you can't do it alone. You need people to partner with, and you find people that have experience in the startup environment. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to engineering, when it comes to finance and all kind of things, they are around, and they are also switching companies frequently. Yeah? So you when you have a good idea, good team, you're driven, you're gonna be able to build up a team with experienced guys around you. And thirdly, I think also when you look at I think most people, they cannot just go to their bank account, get a couple of €100,000 and start. So you need external money. And also there you have a very huge business angel community that is used to taking very high risk and investing in very early stages. So when you have a, sort of like first prototype, they are willing to do that. And also then when the business develops in the right direction, you will find investors that do the follow-up financing. So sum it up, I think it's it's mindset, it's about team, and it's about financing. And I think with all three, it helps to be there.
Do you have any more specific tips for startuppers in Berlin, how they can develop the right strategy in order to get a really good part of the market? Some things that they should really be aware of, just like now you said they should form an international or a very experienced team. Could you give us a bit more tips? For example, what should I be aware of if I would like to make a startup in Berlin?
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. I think it's three factors that are very important. The first is a product, right? A product, something that you can show, that you're passionate about, and we say, okay, you make your customers happy. You deliver value to them. I think this is important. The second is, I think it helps. It's important that you have a great vision. So that you say, honestly, I think it's very much, welcome to really think big, and don't, try to think too small and just step by step. You have to, say, okay, I want to go out. I want to build products that have a global reach. I want to have a couple of 100 million users. I want to really build something that makes change. And the third is to have an awesome team, like really awesome team with rock stars or, in military speaking, Navy SEALs, instead of like normal soldiers, like really awesome kick-ass team. And I think when you can get all three of them together, you're gonna have a very nice ride.
Could you please inform us a bit about the startup process? Is it easy for somebody who has a good business plan, a great business idea, to get funding for it? Is it easy? How does the process, what's the process that we have to follow in order to have a successful startup?
Yeah, so I think it's a very, I would say, informal process. Yeah, so I think when you want to come either for to found a business there or to do fundraising, for instance, I think it's important that it's very well planned. Yeah, so you should reach out, to people before. Yeah, and try to get introduction to the guys. So please never ever go on the website, look at, oh, you have an idea, oh, there's the email address, ideas at whatever. Yeah? Never send your email there. Yeah? Because I never heard of anybody who invested into a company that it sent an email there. Yeah? Because when people say, when you cannot even get in touch with us, yeah, I mean, when you're not creative enough to get in touch with somebody from the company, then you also won't get in touch with your customers or with other people. So please never send your email there. And then, for example, you can reach out to us, to the German Startup Association. I think we have a network to support, yeah? We always know somebody, I would say, who knows somebody that knows somebody, and that is interested in something, and people want to help, and maybe might be good partners, investors. And then before, I would say, before you really talk to somebody, before you have the sharp pitch, make sure that they've always heard from two independent people from you. That somebody, sort of like drops your name there. It's even when you're applying there, right? Also, when you apply to a company, because you want to start your job there, really my advice is never just send your application there, but, get in touch with the people, ask them smart questions, and make sure that at least two of the people in charge have heard your name before, because that will, help to make sure that, you get a good success rate coming over. So, but, most important advice is, so search for the people you want to meet with. Use LinkedIn to see to whom they are connected, to whom you know, and, approach them.
Are there any institutional financial support possibilities as far as you know?
Yes, of course there is. So we have, in whole Germany, there's a lot of public venture capital funds and public support programs. Yeah, I think it's also what Ms. Frey mentioned before, yeah, for the universities. So when you're a student there and you want to start your idea, they give you a kind of like scholarship. So you get maybe 2,000 euros. Is it?
The Access program?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's between 1,000 and 3,000 per month.
So as a sort of like scholarship, so that you can pay, for the food and your rent and stuff, and have time to develop an idea. There are also other institutions. One is the High-Tech Founder Fund, yeah, translated in English. What they do is they do equity investments. So when you have a good and great idea, they invest up to €500,000 in your company. And then also depending on the region, there are also local investors, such as like when you found your business in Munich or in Berlin, then they also support you with money. If in case this is interesting for you, I think also what's important here is that it's well planned. So those applications take time. So for instance, when you have a business angel investment, or somebody, a business angel invests in you, that can go as quick as 2 weeks. From talking to them to have everything signed and the money on your account. But when you have the public programs, that takes longer. So you have to keep that in mind. That is important. And there are also some companies or institutions that help you with the application there, because all the forms you have to fill out, all of them are in German, and even I, as German, don't understand them. So you need support for them, but there are people that can help out with that.
Thank you, Erik. I would like to give the word to Dr. Green, who is founder and manager director of ENCOS, situated in Germany and in Greece, Entrepreneur of the Year 2014. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation today here in Athens. Entering the German market is not so easy to explain because it depends on the kind of business we have to do. We have listened to Erik, Heinelt. These are the IT startups. I cannot add anything to this excursion, but we have a lot of other business sectors, more traditional, not only IT. They have some possibilities for Greek companies to enter this market. However, I cannot give a standard strategy how to approach this market, but I can explain that each country has some principal aspects we have to follow if we want to enter and to keep our business in these countries. Germany is one of the highest qualified business markets in the world. All German products are the best in the world, I can say, services or products. So if someone has to enter this market, the first steps or the first aspects we have to see are high quality and high permanent quality. Then the other things is that we have our products are available and not delivering only for one time and then we forget the market. Reliability, and it means if we can keep a very high quality of the products, it is a result of very efficient management and also very good and effective organization. That's, I can say, the source that we can be good in this market. However, I can explain for some markets, it depends maybe in the traditional machinery, automotives, chemical, pharma. These are traditional markets. If we go to this market, then there are some rules. In Europe or in Germany, is I think the same rules. A lot of these companies, they have some internet platforms we can offer our products or our services. But however, we cannot begin without to be qualified. It means we have to qualify us as deliverers. This is the first step. In these platforms, we have to provide to our future client a lot of information about the organization, about the product, about the service, but without this step, we can't go further. That's very important because I have also the national experience in all international projects. We have to be qualified. And the clients today, they need a lot of information, not only technical, not only products, also financial, and a lot of references for this business sector. If we have a product to sell, then it means maybe it's a new product, like in the IT, that's easy to enter to the market, but if it's a common product, so we have to replace another product from the market. It means in this case, we have to offer a better quality or lower price. So it's different what a strategy we have to choose for. It depends on our project. So at all, I think for products, for hardware products, it's easier to enter markets than for services, because services, first, the most physical products have qualification, have some characteristics we can meet or not. But for services, it's very difficult, because to be a deliverer for services, it means the client need trust to your service. I speak about this field because I come from this business, engineering services. So if we offer engineering service, big projects, about $1 million of one project, then it means our client have to trust to our software, to our skills, before the client give us this project, because otherwise we cannot qualify it in another way, because we mean we are the best, but we have to show. What I have explained before, this is the IT service, okay. Mechanical engineering is a big field also for Greek companies, because in Europe and Germany we have a lot or a big demand on these services, on engineering services, because of the lack of engineers. We permanently are looking for engineers also in Greece and in other countries. And Germany has not enough engineers. Yeah, we know this problem. So I explain this because it's a big chance to come in with this market. This business does not require big capital, just soft skills and organization. So all the other markets, I cannot explain how to introduce these markets, because there are a lot of strategies in the world how to go to the automotives, and so these are standard products. Okay. Also, it's important to know, is a mass market, is a supplier selection process, or is a niche market. If you have a product for a niche market, it's very easy to go there, because the products are very few in the world. So, but in most cases are not this. And very important is also how is the market, the client. Is a small company, or I have as client a very big company. The marketing procedure or to approaching these companies is totally different. So the other point for Greek deliverers to the German market, I can say that we always have competitors. So I had in last weeks, we found one company in Greece to deliver us some engineering services, and at the moment we have discussed that the client is in Germany, they increased the prices to 50%, because they say abroad we have to get higher prices than increase. That's total inconsequent, because also the prices in Europe or worldwide are the same for these services, for the technical. I tell this because I wonder why they think that the German market pays more than the other markets. So if you really want to enter to the German market, there are only, I think, two possibilities: to acquire or buy a company in Germany or in Europe, we speak about Germany, in the same field of business, or to establish a local office for a lot of business, because in a lot of business in Germany, the language is very important, except IT services. IT services or startups are in English, that's okay, but in all other business, the German language is very important. Also the German mentality. So I cannot think that approach from Greece direct, if you have services and not products, to Germany will be successful. But the easiest way is to buy a company in this field. This is the strategy we have done also in my company. If we wanted to enter to the pharmaceutical industry, so we bought a company, small company in this sector, and automatically we had the clients. So we can put some more money to invest a lot in this company to grow this company, but we have a cell, we can work very easy. The other way to build a local office is not difficult in Germany. To establish a company, you need about 1 week, then you have done all the formalities. But however, it costs more because you need more time. That is what I explained from experienced businesswoman, because I can say when I started with my business, I did not know that I have some helps from this kind of offices, and I learned by myself all the business standards and strategies I need. But what was very helpful is you have to be in touch with your client. You have to know what the client wishes before you go to him, to the client or to her, and explain the products. If I go with a product to a client, to the clients they don't need, then I have no success. So I have only success if I go to the right time with the right product. That was my successful work, because sometimes you can explain, especially in the services, you can explain a service in a lot of, what I can say, in a lot of kinds, because the same service you can tell with some nuance, so it's more interesting for the client. That is the entrepreneur, I think, what one entrepreneur has to know. Okay, thank you.
I would like to thank Dr. Green for her input and for showing us that identifying the needs of your clients is one of the greatest keys to success. I would like to ask you some questions. Since the main theme of the panel is how to target the German market, I would like, my first question would be, why did you choose to target the German market? Why did you choose Germany in order to make your startup and your business there at the first place?
I think it's easier than you think, because I already was in Germany at that time, so I decided to build up my company there.
I mean, are there no specific reasons that you chose Germany? Because there is a trend now also for non-European citizens or for non-Europeans that that make startups in Germany. And I always think of myself, okay, if you come from another cultural background, why would you choose Germany? Is it easier in Germany? What was your experience on starting your business in Germany as a foreigner?
Yes, it's not easy in Germany. Germany is a very strong market, yeah. But I knew the business field. So I came from, I already have worked with a company in this field, so I had a lot of relationships. So it was easier to enter and to approach the first clients. That was the reason.
Do you have any special tips for startups who are not familiar with the German market, some tips that would help them enter the market?
Yes, to give a tip, I think is not so easy, because everybody begins this startup with another target. Yeah. I know the problem because my son is now in Berlin and has grounded a startup with others. So I know these problems, but it's always to say, if you know the market, if you have worked in this market, in this business field, so you can begin because you know this business. If you don't know the business, then you have nowadays you need an angel, business angel. Without business angel, you cannot go further.
I'm sure that the audience would like to know what are the main challenges and the main obstacles when trying to found a company or a business. What were the main problems, let's say, that you faced during the foundation of your business in Germany?
Yes. The biggest problem, I think, not only in Germany, the most important parameter is money. It means it's good to have an idea, it's good to have a nice environment to work, but you have to earn money. In 1 year or in 6 months or something like that. It means you parallel to the technical or the other developments, you have also to develop the marketing, the acquisition. That's very important, because after 1 year, maybe you get some money from some agencies, you have to earn money.
What was your main financial support when you started your business? What was the way you financed your business plan in order to succeed at the very beginning, if I may ask?
I had to develop a business plan, and with this business plan, I went to my bank, my home bank, at that time, and explained them what I had or what I thought about the business. And yeah, the most important thing is to negotiate with the bank that they believe in your idea. That's the most important thing. So I got credit from the bank, and then I had to pay back the next 5 years.
Nice. Since you have been active in both Greece and Germany, are there any main differences in the way of running or founding a business that we should know about? Bureaucracy, all the processes required, and so on?
Yes, I think I know both ways. It's easier to get all the allowances, the permits you need in Germany. It's very easy, and we had some problems with our Greek offices at the beginning. Yeah.
So Greek bureaucracy is still a great obstacle.
I don't believe that is the Greek mentality, but I think it's not clear enough what we have to do. It means it was nobody. He could explain us what is the first step, the second step, and so. And in Germany, it's easier. You can just go to the internet and you see all the steps you need, all the papers, and that's the big difference.
Thank you for your input. And my last question would be, do you have any special advice for young startuppers that they would like to give it a go in Germany? Do you have any special tips or advice?
Yeah, I cannot say special because also I am working in Hamburg with innovation authorities. We have a group, innovation group there, and we have a lot of young starters. I think what Erik also explained before, you have to contact the required persons, something like that. You cannot just go to internet and write an email, but you have to contact personnel, you have to visit these people, you have to connect you with these other people. Then you have the first idea about the market. It's no for the IT or this kind of services, it's very easy, I think, in Europe to find also co-founders. And there are a lot of people on the market, they have money and they don't know what they have to do with their money. Yeah, a lot of, in Europe. And if they find a very good idea and good business plan, then it's very easy. I know it from the startup of my son. It's also, they are 6 months now with the startup, and they are speaking with co-founders because they need a lot of money to invest in this company. But there are a lot of people, they are waiting for these ideas.
Thank you.
Με το Ίδρυμα Adenauer έχουμε μια πάρα πολύ στενή συνεργασία, μας στηρίζει και τους ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Και βέβαια μας δίνει μια πολύ μεγάλη δυνατότητα να έχουμε άτομα καλεσμένα από τη Γερμανία να μεταφέρουν εμπειρίες και γνώσεις. Αυτήν την εποχή υπάρχει ένα πολύ δύσκολο κλίμα. και δεν υπάρχει καμιά πραγματική εικόνα, αληθινή εικόνα για τη χώρα και το λαό της, τη Γερμανία εννοώ. Και καλλιεργείται από πολλές πλευρές. Αγαπητοί μου, η Γερμανία είναι μια μεγάλη χώρα και συνεργαζόμενοι με αυτήν μπορούμε να αντλήσουμε πολλά. Σας ευχαριστώ.
I would like to thank everybody for being here this evening, and if there are any questions, we will be more than glad to answer them. We will go clockwise, so we will start from the left side.
So I work as a digital marketeer as part of an interactive agency specializing in the travel industry and startups in the travel industry. So my first question is, well, both my questions are for Mr. Heinelt. I would like to ask, knowing that the German digital market, let's say, is flourishing, and I know that you have a lot of startups, and I know that you have also are very strong in e-commerce. Do you believe there are quite good chances for digital marketeers at this particular point of time in Berlin and generally in Germany?
General answer, absolutely. Yeah. I think when I look at our member companies, so in the startup, in our startup association, we have roughly 400. But also when I look at lots of large blue chip companies, that start more and more digitalizing their businesses. So there's a huge debate going on these days. There was ZIFET last week or this week actually in Hanover, and right now when you look at German newspapers, it's full of digitalization, and we have to sort of modernize our businesses, get them into the digital age, and I think it's a top of everybody's agenda at the moment. And I mean, online marketing is obviously a huge part of it. So absolutely, I mean, there's people looking for services, searching for people who are experienced in it. I mean, the systems are global anyways. Yeah, I say nowadays being online marketeers more being, it's better to be good in math rather than
of course, analytics and
being good in art,
KPIs.
right? Yeah. So, and I mean, the KPIs is the same everywhere, right?
Okay.
So some people I knew, they managed a couple of million SEM budgets without speaking a single word of German, and they were the best in it. So
that's very impressive, very inspiring. I didn't know this. Okay, thank you. And I also have one more question, pretty quick. You have talked about change and movement, mobility in the sector of the startup community, which is, let's say, a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, like the fluidity of the assets of the companies, of the startups. We see a lot of new startups trying to create things, but only a few of them actually make something substantial. I would like to ask, can you tell us about a German startup that has created a difference, has created a substantial product with financial independence, or that has done very well internationally, maybe?
I mean, it's a very brutal game, right? It's like very brutal and bloody, to found a startup, because when you look at, I mean, statistics tells you, 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 actually fail. I think I have two things about that. The first thing is that failure is important there. I mean, and when you look at a lot of the really successful guys, they failed once, twice, 3 times before they actually succeeded, because each time you learn something very substantial and you don't do the mistake twice. So I think this is the first thing. About the second thing also, I think, is when you have this statistic in mind, you would, and you are a rational behaving person, you would never ever found a startup, right? You would go to a consultancy or investment bank or a blue chip company and start a career there. Just looking at it from a financial point of view. But doing a startup is because you do something you love and you don't think twice. And the second also is that you say, okay, yeah, 9 other guys might fail, but not me. Yeah, and I think this is very, very important. Yeah, because if you have that mind, as also the mind of a champion or of a winner's DNA, I think it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because if you say that it's just completely out of your mind, you might fail. Yeah.
Well, of course, this is not the correct disposition for this kind of thing. But do you actually remember somebody that has done well internationally or in Germany? Because I have no recollection of such an example.
Yeah. There are a few to say. I think one is, or two are just half year ago, they did an IPO. One is Rocket Internet, and one of their main companies is Zalando. So Zalando founded, I think, 2008, and they're now on the stock market over 5 billion valuation.
They were actually in Greece 2 or 3 years ago in a very similar panel, but I didn't know this about them. Yeah, so they're huge, and I know them pretty well, and they're doing just a great job. It's absolutely amazing. Also, the Rocket Internet guys. I mean, they run now the biggest e-commerce stores in almost all emerging markets. So when you ask, in Nigeria and often the biggest stores, and then there are also some other applications like Wunderlist. It's a to-do app. SoundCloud is from Berlin. TeamViewer. It's a huge success in the B2B market. It was sold for over $1 billion just recently. I think there are some. It should be more, of course.
Thank you.
Very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. For everybody in the audience who would like to see how startups function or get some experience in startups, there is a program called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, and you can get informed about it in your national contact points, where you can get more information and also make some exchange in order to gain some experience. Another question, yeah?
Hello. I would like to ask something to all of you who have lived in Germany. There is a rumor here in Greece that says that there is a discrimination against Greek citizens in German society. Is that true?
Maybe I have to answer because I am Greek in Germany. We don't see this discrimination. Maybe in Greece we think about discrimination, but in Germany we don't think, or we cannot see this discrimination.
I mean, if a young scientist or an entrepreneur go to live in Germany, will he feel that he's discriminated against his people?
I don't think so. But however, if you don't speak the language of the country you live, then you feel that you are discriminated because sometimes you cannot understand the language exactly what the people say. But we have a lot of young engineers from Greece. Nobody of them feels that it's discrimination in Germany, because Germany was I think I live for 30 years in Germany now. Germany was, in the first time the foreigners came to Germany, was a very strong feeling. But now Germany has opened the doors also in the authorities. They have to fulfill some percent of the personnel, of the staff. They have immigration background, we say. It means not only Greeks, Turks or Spanish people or Italian. It's very open. I think the Greek the Greek mentality is more closer than the German mentality now. The most of Greeks, they don't believe, but it's
I would like to add that there is a misconception due to generalization, and one should always set his focus on the positive aspects that bring 2, 3, 4 nations together instead of the negative aspects. And some people do not often realize that when people talk about Greeks or about Germans, that they don't really refer to the people as people, but mostly to the politic and any ways being applied. So I have lived in Germany, and I have seen that German people admire Greek people and vice versa. Greek people also admire German people. We all have very positive aspects, and we can all benefit from our international relations. So I think that the best way for some people to get a real answer about this firsthand is to go to the country and see how it is, because you're going to get to listen to a lot of different opinions, but you're not going to have a really experience if you don't live it by your own. Thank you. We'll go on with the next question.
I got the microphone now. So I would like to ask Ms. Green, as soon as I can see you. You happened to be in Germany when you started your company. What would you do if you were here in Greece now, 2015? What kind of startup would you start?
What can I ask? I am too old now to start. Yes.
Okay, what would
but
you propose to a
I think
person?
from my experience as innovation agent in Hamburg, located in Hamburg, I think the IT sector has a lot of opportunities for the young Greek people, yeah, because it's an international market. You approach a lot of countries. It's very easy, but just this sector is the easiest, I think so. And now, and our big industry, the tourism industry, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that was my next question. Thank you.
A question to Erik. You described Berlin as the ecosystem, a business ecosystem. Could you call it an innovation cluster with the characteristics of innovation cluster? And how, I think it has 3 or 4 universities there. How do these universities are get involved as a stakeholder of this process, business in Berlin?
Yeah, very good question. I think, yeah, I would definitely call it a sort of like cluster, a technology cluster, or that's what it developed over the last years. And I think universities play a very decisive role in it, because in Berlin you have, I think, on the Berlin area you have 4 universities. But also a lot of universities of applied sciences. Yeah, so, and it's, lots of people want to, what you had in the past was always a lot of people wanted to study in Berlin. because of the lifestyle, because it's cool and so on. But then when they finished their university, they actually liked it there, to live there, but it was very difficult to find jobs. Yeah? So they, went to other areas and regions. And now it's the situation that they can actually find good jobs in Berlin, and so they're very happy to stay. Yeah? So I think this is the thing. And also when they are studying, they do internships. So they say, the startup thing, and they do an internship, and then they can get their own view of it, whether they like it or not. So it's a very, very important factor.
Hello, my name is Zacharias Polymenakos. I'm a management consultant, and I also teach in entrepreneurship programs here in Greece, and I'm also part in a few startups here in Greece. I wanted to ask Mrs. Frey, in terms of the prospects of cooperation between startups in Germany and in Greece. It seems to me that there are a lot of complementary things to be taken into account. That is, as we said, that Germany has it's a very big market. It has a strong brand. It has better access to capital. Greece, we have 300 days of sun every year. Here we have low expenses in terms of rent. We have good human capital and so forth. So whether we're talking about exporting products from here to Germany or the travel business here, which is a pretty big and important business, or about using IT to promote these businesses and also as a business in itself, I have three questions for you. One is, I would like to know the profile of your students in terms of age and so forth, and from which countries they come from. If you have some, second question is if you have some suggestions of how Greek startups can cooperate with German startups to make joint ventures and so forth to leverage the opportunities that exist in both markets. And third, if there is some structured way via institutions and so forth that for Greek startups to pursue cooperations with companies or individuals like in the university of yours. Thank you.
We have already started some initiatives here in Greece. I am an international relations coordinator at our institute, and we have some nice cooperations now in terms of attracting students to our university. We have signed an Erasmus contract with OPA, with ASOE here, and students are always welcome to come to our premises, make academic exchange, and get informed, see how our startups work, how we work with students, what we do. They get a chance to visit our incubators and everything. And we have also a nice, we're about to have a cooperation with Technology Science Park of Crete. So there is always ground for cooperation and mutual exchange where startups from Greece can come to Germany and vice versa in order to exchange ideas and experiences and find new ways of collaboration.
That's why I gave the word to Petros, because he's the international expert. So your first question was about the profile of our students, if I got it right.
Age or countries or, things
yeah. So most of our students are from the region, but offshore we have Erasmus students. And yeah, we are part of the Erasmus program and also of the Tempos program, which is focused on Eastern Europe. And I don't know the exact number, how many Erasmus students we have at our university, in fact.
It depends because we have two campi and a lot of different faculties. But in Germany, there is a notion that not only European students make a startup, but also students from non-European countries, from Turkey and such countries, Russia, for example. And There are a lot of programs for this, in which you can get informed, for example, integration through qualification, and it depends on the sector. I cannot specifically answer your question because there are different sectors. We have IT startups, we have services startups, we have a lot of different startups. So.
And concerning the profile of our students, as our university is historically seen an educational university, so we have like about 60% students in the educational science, and the others are in mathematics and natural science, environmental science, so also, the technical part. I don't know if this answers your question about the profile. And with these entrepreneurial courses, we try to reach a lot of students in the educational sector. Because our idea is to get multiplicators for entrepreneurship education and to spread this idea already at schools. And that's why we already educate school teachers. Concerning your question about how we could collaborate, I got in mind that we have one work package which is called Venture Flirt. And the idea about this is that we get together, for example, startups from our university together with startups from some other country. Maybe we can find a way to collaborate about that, if that answers your question.
The next question, please.
Hello, good afternoon. Well, I have a question for Dr. Green. You mentioned before that the German language and mentality are vital for, let's say, a person to survive in German markets. So I would like to ask you, how can somebody obtain several elements from the German mindset to be prepared when the time comes?
I don't think that we have a big difference between the Greek and German mentality. I have explained that some economy sectors, the traditional, they are German. They are based on German language, and it's very difficult to negotiate in the business if you don't understand exactly what the market, what the product is. That's what I said, but it's not necessary for all business sectors. In another kind, I cannot see any other differences because now Europe is, if I compare with 30 years before, we had a big difference between the mentality. But now Europe is, I think if we travel to China or other countries, Europe is one mentality. But however, if you mention to live in a country, Germany, so it's better to learn the language for a long time.
I would like to thank everybody. Unfortunately, our time is up, but if there are any more questions, we can move to next room, MC 3.5, and we can go further on there. Thank you.